Thanks for joining us for our monthly market update. This is Diana Benson with eXp Realty. I get questions all the time on what's going on in the market. And, there's only one thing that's been consistent this year, and that's that it's constantly changing. So it's a little hard to keep on top of everything. So we definitely need to look at it on a monthly basis. So today, we're just going to kind of do an overall view. So let's go ahead and dive right in. You'll see that the appreciation of the median sales price over the last year is down a little bit year over year. But that's not the full story, because if we look at the average sales per square foot, you're going to see that we're actually up from a year ago, in fact, up 5.9%. And you have to be so careful to what experts you're listening to or what news channels you're watching. For instance, Goldman Sachs is one of the top experts, and they were saying just 5 months ago that we're going to have a horrible decline in prices like we did back in 2008. And a lot of other experts had made the same dire predictions. So you really have to be careful where you get your data from. In fact, where we get our data from is from the Cromford report. The Cromford report has consistently been correct over the years here for our local market. And that's what we care about, is what's happening in our local market, right? So let's kind of take a look at what's happening here at our local market. First of all, we have seasonal trends, and we're following those seasonal trends. Right about now, you'll start seeing that we have fewer and fewer contracts, especially as we get into the holidays. But here locally, again, we have so much going for us, especially in jobs. And jobs is the number one item that is so important to keep our economy going and to keep our affordability going. And you're going to see by the next couple of slides, the amount of jobs that are coming into our market is just unbelievable. We used to be construction and retail and tourism. Now our employment base is so diverse. We have batteries, we have chips, so much technology. So let's just kind of take a peek here and look at all these different companies that are moving here in all different parts of the valley. And you can see why our unemployment rate is staying the national average of at about 3.6%. And everybody's perspective is so different depending on what your age is. For instance, if you're in my age group at the 55 plus community, you have had seen a lot of different recessions and what happens after those recessions. But if you're a millennial or Generation Z, you haven't seen very many yet. So your history is really what happened in the 2008 recession. But that was really unique. So a lot of people are thinking, well, gosh, do I buy or do I rent? And really that comes down to what that payment's going to be. And that payment is going to be based on what those interest rates are again, right? So you really have to, but you have to do more of an analysis than that. For instance, you're going to be building equity over time. Even if there was no appreciation, you're still going to be building that equity. Then if you have that equity, you're building your wealth. And then of course, if the interest rates came down, you would always be able to refinance and get that interest rate down to a little bit more comfortable rate. So what does the Cromford Market Index say? And what is a Cromford Market Index? Basically, what they're telling us is this is what the supply is, and this is what the demand is. And if there's more demand than there is supply, then we're in a seller's market, or the other way around, right? If there's tons of supply and not as much demand, then we're going to be in a buyer's market. Well, right now we're in a seller market. 100 states that the market is balanced, that the supply and demand are balanced. Right now it's 154.7, which means it's really in a seller's market. And that's why we're seeing multiple offers again. And here you'll see what that price response has been over the last few years, because we have so much demand. We have so many people moving into the valley. We have so many jobs that are moving into the valley. So that'll continue to bring more people. So with that continued demand and that very little supply, those prices should definitely be able to maintain or appreciate over time. And just because they're going to maintain or appreciate over time doesn't mean they're going to go straight up. You're going to have it's ups and downs. And of course, that's when the news starts talking about recession and doom and gloom again. So you have to really, block a lot of that information out. And what else is going on in the market? Well, right now we're having 42% of our sales are having seller paid costs. That's helping buy those interest rates down. So that's a little bit more affordable so that people can qualify for that loan. 23%, 23.6% of sales are over the asking price. Again, we're talking about those multiple offers. And the median sales on days on market, how many days it takes to sell that home in value-wise is about 19 days. So if we look at everything, we can see that the sales price has been down a little bit over the last year. That the homes are selling, over the asking price. That 28% over the last year have had seller paid concessions, and the average concessions is about $8,000. I hope that helps put things in focus for you, and so you can see what's really happening in the market. If you have any other questions about what's going on in the market, please feel free to call, text, or email. My phone number is 480-226-1925. I'd love to be your resource if I can help them in any way. Thanks again for joining us.